First, hello to everybody at Cocktail Channel. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Daviv Wondrich from Brooklyn, New York. I am a historian of cocktails and spirits, and a writer, a pundit, some about that. You know, I talk about cocktails in magazines and newspapers and at conferences, etc. So that's what I do. So I've been writing about cocktails and their history in particular for almost 25 years, which is a long time. And there really was no job like mine. I invented this job when somebody asked me to write for an American magazine to put one of their old cocktail books for Esquire magazine in a format that they could put it on their website. And I edited it and cut a lot of the drinks and arranged everything. And they said, "This is very nice. Can you do a drink of the week column based on this?" And so every week I had a new cocktail up online. At the time, I was a professor of English literature at a small college in New York City, and I didn't enjoy that job very much. This was much more fun, and it began taking more and more of my time, and I finally quit that job and just went with this, and I've been doing it ever since. It's hard these days for bartenders to, well, first let me say, I believe that it's very useful for bartenders to know the history and traditions of bartending. It's a way of finding ideas, getting ideas. It's a way of connecting with your customer. Customers like the stories behind the drinks. It's a way of organizing what you know. If you know the traditions, you could say, well, this is like that, and this goes with that. You know, cream drinks, well, here's the tradition with cream drinks, and I've got another one that fits in with that. And it makes it very much easier to keep everything straight in your mind as to what you're doing. But it's very hard right now especially with artificial intelligence, but with the internet, there's so much information. And the hard part is figuring out what's accurate, what's not. There's a huge amount of bullshit of people who know one or two facts and make up everything in between. Other people who are just making it up because they're lazy or stealing it from somebody else. And it's very difficult to find your way through that. Most of what I do is finding my way through that and putting it in a way that it's useful for people, where they can see what the sources are, where it came from, and what has sources, what we can prove, and what we can never prove. I mean, I can add. My last book was the Oxford Companion to Spirits and Cocktails, a huge reference book where every entry, a famous cocktail, it has the story of where it came from, and then we list all the sources, the original sources, not, we got it from another online source, but the books, the newspaper articles, the things at the time when the drink was invented that we can prove. So I try to make sure that everything has a source like that I'm not just taking it from another website who says this or another website who says that. I think I've written about 7 books. I think my favorite one is my book Punch, about the history of punch, which was the first popular mixed drink based on distilled spirits, and it goes back to the 1600s. And it's a hell of a story with sailors and pirates and all kinds of stuff like that. And that book I thought came out quite well. I really like that book. I'm proud of it. You can get the book on Amazon. You can, yeah.
You have your own website for books?
I don't have a website for books because I'm terrible at running things. If I leave a legacy to the cocktail world, I think it will be in connecting modern bartenders with bartenders of the past and the traditions, and also spirits of the past, how things used to be, and how they're connected to what we have now. I think it's always good to know what the connection is, especially if you're telling stories, which bartenders should be doing.
And the bartender loves telling stories.
Yeah, but telling stories is a huge part of the job.
Yeah.
It's not just making the drinks, it's entertaining the customers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on, I'm almost done with another cocktail book, which is something a little bit different. My last one was an encyclopedia. So this one's a comic book. It's the comic book history of the cocktail with, illustrations of all the people and mixing the drinks and all that. And that should be out in the US end of this year, early next year.
What's the name? Do you have a name?
It's called The Comic Book Story of the Cocktail. Yeah. Yeah, for bartenders who are starting today, I'd say, the number one thing, remember to have fun. It's a fun job. Make it fun for your customers if possible, and be curious. Learn as much as you can. There's never stuff you don't need to know. You need to know everything. If you want to do the job of bartending well, it's like every other job in the world. To do it well, you need to know everything about it. And you don't need to know it all right now, but you just have to be curious and keep learning. And never forget, there's something new you can learn. There's something interesting that you can tell your customers. People love stories. They love bits of lore, of who did this, who did that, where does this drink come from, how do they drink it when they invented it, here's how we do it, and why. There's people like that. That's part of the job. The job, it's not a kitchen job. It's a customer service job. You have to be out with the customers and talking to them, and that's the fun part.
So enjoy the ride.
Yeah, enjoy the ride.